Hello, I'm Amanda Fugate Moss. I'm an actor, a writer, and a producer. And today I am covering video number 2. Yay! If you haven't had a chance to see video number 1, I'd highly recommend going and watching it. Video number 1, I cover important paperwork that is really going to help you and the person that you're taking care of, especially when everything starts going haywire with their health. So today's video, I'm going to get it started. So I became a caretaker in 2015 for my grandparents full-time, 24/7. And I am doing a series of videos where I'm sharing about things that I learned, things that can help other people right now if you are working with someone as a caretaker, or your loved one is going through the time right now where their bodies are breaking down and they need support. So in this video, let me share it. Um, we're going to be looking at, let me get it going. So things I learned being a caretaker. In this video, we're going to look at support systems. Now, support systems become very, very important, especially when somebody, like I said, their body starts deteriorating or even their mind. My grandpa had dementia. So after my grandma passed, it progressively got worse very quickly. And there's a time where I just really needed support systems. And I was so happy and thankful that we had them in place. First one, so with my grandparents for their medical, otherwise known as an advance directive or a durable power of attorney for medical, or a living will or a healthcare representative, all of them cover the same thing. It deals with medical. They chose my aunt, who happened to be in the medical profession. So she was on all of the paperwork, she was on all of the doctor stuff. And then she chose to put me as a secondary person so that if she wasn't reachable, or if she wasn't able to get there, that I was there and I was able to support them and help them make decisions until she was able to get there. So I recommend, if you are able to, having a primary person. Like I said, that was my aunt, which made it much easier for me so that I was able to, like I said, I was a 24/7. So I was with my grandparents, especially my grandpa after my grandma passed, all the time, so that I could let my aunt worry about the medical things. And I could just focus on the things at home because it's a lot of physical stuff, but it's also a lot of mental and emotional stuff as you're watching someone deteriorate. So, and good idea, maybe if there's somebody in the field. Like I said, my aunt was in the field of medical, so she was able to be talk to the people who making the medical decisions, and she knew the lingo and the jargon because that was her field. Um, so that is medical. Now with my grandparents, for the financial, which is otherwise known as the durable power of attorney, for finances, my grandparents chose my mother. My mother was their oldest child, and she became the primary decision maker with their finances when they weren't able to make those decisions themselves. Primarily, that was with my grandfather. When my grandma was alive, they had a little bit more, they were able to make more of the decisions. But when she passed and my grandpa's dementia got really bad, then that's when my mom was there to step in, and she was able to pay his bills and make the decisions for him about his finances. So, is there somebody in the family or somebody very trustworthy that's really great with finances? Keep in mind, durable power of attorney gives somebody the right to make your financial decisions, or the person that you're taking care of. So, you want to have that person be extremely trustworthy, and because it's very serious. And again, delegation of duties, my aunt making the medical decisions, my mom making the financial decisions, that allowed me to just focus on the house and focus on my grandpa and what was going on with him. So this is again a durable power of attorney definition. And let's go to the next one. So outside support. Outside support becomes very important when somebody's health is deteriorating. So number one, check with the physician. My grandfather's physician was able to step in, make sure that his paperwork was all set up and everything, and then get medical professionals to come. So we were able to get medical professionals to come to the house. We had, they came from the Salem Hospital for us, and they were able to just focus on very specific things. So one of them, as my grandpa, his mental mind was deteriorating. He didn't want to move. He had no desire to move. He just wanted to sit in his chair, or he would just go outside and sit and smoke on the front porch. So by having somebody in the physical therapy, they were able to come in a couple times a week, and they were able to walk him like around the block, get him moving, just get him moving in the house. Because at some point, you know, he only wanted familiar surroundings, and staying inside was easier for him. So they were able to walk him and create paths. They were also able to guide and let me know how to move the furniture and stuff, how to support him so that he less chance of falling, removing rugs, that type of thing. So they were great. Another one that became very important was the bathing therapist, because with my grandpa, I was able to assist him at the beginning and I was able to help him. But as his memory became more and more deteriorated, and he became, could be aggressive, it became important that I was able to rely on outside support that would come in twice a week and help him bathe. Now I am going to do a video just on dementia and some support things there. One of the things I learned was with bathing that when the mind becomes more and more deteriorated, there becomes a fear of water oftentimes. So that's why it was more difficult to get him to bathe. But like I said, by bringing in somebody or an outside support, it made a break in the pattern or the daily pattern, the rhythm. And so he was more receptive to the outside person coming in. He didn't give them a hard time, and he was able to work with them. Another one, we with the medical professionals coming in, we had a nurse that would come in once. I think she'd come in once a week, and she'd listen to his heart, you know, make sure that he was doing all right. Gave me her phone number if anything happened, and he had diabetes, so she was able to work with him on getting his, you know, where they prick the finger and they're able to see what's going on with his blood. Um, Great resources. If I remember right, I believe that was paid through Medicaid. I'm not positive, but that was a state program. Another program is hospice. When the time comes when things are getting really bad, hospice is wonderful. I'm going to do a video on them also and cover some of the things that they do. Um, Meals on Wheels. Now, Meals on Wheels is for lower income, I believe, people that are aging and can't create their own meals. My grandfather and my grandmother never had to worry about that. I was able to make all their meals. But they also were a huge part of Meals on Wheels when they were mobile and they were taking care of themselves. They would go out. They loved going out and working with Meals on Wheels because they would deliver meals to people, and it would give them a time. Just with a lot of the Meals on Wheels people, they'll just sit with the people for a little bit of time and just listen to them, you know, and check on them and make sure they're all right. And that also gives them an outside person coming in to visit with them a little bit while they're delivering the meals. Another great resource, look into, do you have relatives or family members who can help out? Maybe a really good friend of the family that could come and just visit for a couple of hours. It gives you, if you're the healthcare person, as you know, 24/7 it's a quite a thorough shift. So it's all day, every day, all week. So by having somebody come in and visit, it gives you a break for maybe a couple hours where you can go and you can do something and you can just breathe and decompress a little bit. With our family, we were also very fortunate that my uncle flew in the 2 years that I took care of, especially my grandpa. After my grandma passed, my uncle flew my grandpa out for a week. So that gave me a little bit of a break. And then my aunt in California flew him out for a week. And then his sister flew him out for a week. So I got little breaks here and there, which was nice to just decompress. Other resources, community centers. I should have also included churches on there, are great resources. Um, the community center didn't work so well with my grandpa with his dementia because he wanted to be in a familiar place. And once my grandma passed, he just kind of gave up and didn't really want to talk to a lot of people. Or if he did, it would have to be on his terms. So I did take him down to the community center one day in our area, and we sat and we talked to people, and he met some really nice people, but he didn't want to go back. He didn't feel comfortable with that. But what he did feel comfortable with was number one, church, because we went to church and the donut hour and coffee at the end. He would have people that would sit with him and visit with him, and that would give me a little bit of a break where I could just have a little bit of breathing room and let him socialize and visit with his friends and people, when he was having good days. And even when he wasn't having good days and stuff, people really cared about him and would check on him or just sit and talk with him, whether he recognized him or not. He, a lot of times, would be social. Another thing that helped him was he loved to sit out on his front porch and he'd smoke a cigarette and he'd just talk to people that would walk by. And that was kind of like staying in touch, with the world for him. Another resource, state training. You can have state training for caretakers. I know we have that in Oregon. I went through it. It's a 1-day course. Um, they also have resources for lower income families and stuff. If you need somebody to be a caretaker, look into that. Because if they're under a certain amount of money, the state will pay the caretakers to come in and take care of the people so that they can stay at home. So look into that. We weren't utilizing that. My grandparents were above that threshold, but that is available. You can also, if you're military, you can also look into that. We went down to the military, but my grandpa was they were too high of a bracket. But the military for the lower income also, if you're a vet, they will support you in that way. Another great resource, social media. So there are a lot of groups, especially on like Facebook, some on Instagram and stuff, with people that are going through it themselves, that are caretakers, or they're people that are going through their health deteriorating. So you have other resources there, especially for your state or your area, where you can talk, reach out to people and hear their stories, or you can ask questions. So that's another great resource. All right. So that is my video on support systems. Again, these are things that I learned being a caretaker for my grandparents for 2 years. Um, and if you want to learn more about me or what I'm working on a show called Driving the Daisies. It's a series, and we're raising funds right now to shoot the pilot episode. And it's all about caretaking and supporting people going through deterioration. If you want to learn more about us, you can go ahead, follow us and learn about us on Linktree. You'll see there, Linktree Driving the Daisies. You can see our video there, and ways to donate if you're interested in donating and just learning about, you can follow us on Facebook, Driving the Daisies, and we're also on Instagram, Driving the Daisies, um, and TikTok, Driving the Daisies. So, um, so that is pretty much it. Let me exit out of sharing the screen and let me get out of here. There we are. All right. So I hope that this was helpful, and watch out for video number 3. where we'll be covering another topic that about things I learned. All right. Take care.